All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Woo! Still kind of warm out here. I bought a pair of over-the-glasses sunglasses yesterday, and I'll tell you what, they don't fit. Sadness again. They got me. I have to return it, but nice pair, but not really it. It almost works. Actually, I probably might be able to make it fit. I don't know. My lens is kind of, or my frame actually is bigger than it, but I'm not sure. Let me test them out here. I'm gonna go by the house one more time and grab them. These uh these pouches that they wouldn't deliver. What they do is it's really they call them backpack strap pouches or something, but I wear the LBE, the low bearing equipment type of thing, and they go up over. You can put them on those straps. Well, I just hate the side pouches. I really don't need them. These are more centered on your chest, and I can I don't have to turn to my side to get it, and I'll look down and try to figure out where everything is. They're like right here on my chest, and I put my ID in the one and put my keys in the other. Right, and I still have a whole empty pouch over here, and I have an upper pouch over here that could fit something in there. So it's good. Probably only needed one, but this way, if I have some reason to carry something, I can. Really nice. I was actually trying to buy them before and I got blocked. Get her out of here. Get out of here. So it is what it is. It isn't what it isn't. Right. So remember, I think it's Luke 10. Jesus sends the disciples out and he puts a curse on anybody that doesn't treat them right, on anybody that doesn't accept them. That's what that really is. Interesting. Okay. So again, a lot of people don't understand that. Somebody comes in to heal you, you let them heal you. Let them heal heal the community. Thanks, Larry. All right, so where are those glasses? Well, at first I was like, yeah, then I was like, no, and now I'm like, yeah. I can't remember where they are. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, they're getting in the middle of my life here. So evil's powering up. You have to be careful about a lot of stuff at that point. Well, they actually use sex crime as a reason that they get to kill people. Even if the person's not a sex criminal, they'll make it up. So when they're up like that, that could be part of it. Correct. Thanks, Larry. Like sex crime will increase. And you won't see it. Again, they're blindsiding you from keeping people safe. Let me see how else things. I don't know if it's any better than the other ones, though, so I don't know if it's really usable. I think the other one's just as usable. I like it, but I don't know if it's big enough. I mean, it looks as big as the other one, but thank you, Larry. Trying to see what it looks like out here. Well, it's much thicker, and it doesn't like totally block the sunlight like the other one, I think. Ugh. I know I have my other glasses today. Sure where those ended up. I guess it's trying to get me to keep these, but I'm not too sure about them. Yeah, evil's definitely up, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Thank you, Larry. I got no idea where those sunglasses went. No, these are just, they don't fit right. If they fit right, I'd keep them. They're real thick. Probably look even weirder than the other ones. That's probably why they want me to keep them. They're just some strange birds, man. Strange birds. Every last one of them. Right. It's just too thick. If it was large enough and the glasses would fit in it, that phone would be nice because it would rest up against the side of the head. Now they won't let you all know all the stuff I did for the country. That's their scam. They all, you know why? They got awards for it. They got awards for my work. 100%. That's why they won't let you know. Darn, where is? I could feel she was blocking me from getting out there and walking. Right. Yeah. And I tried to buy a pair of sunglasses, and I guess intuitively, right, because I was going to need a pair today, because I can't get anywhere with this. I still don't understand Mormon or LDS women being part of like recruitment of men. I mean, they wouldn't do that in a fundamental Baptist church. I don't even know if they would do that in any. Like, it was weird even calling the Baptist churches and getting praise from women. Because, but again, call prayer line can't be choosy. Mostly women on the prayer line. Did I tell you that? And the men, they kind of like different. Some nice women on those prayer lines. Again, I'm a witness from heaven. So they got some good things coming in the afterlife. No, it's the way God does it. Why would God create creation if God was going to do it all by himself? Right? That makes sense? Well, I wish life was different. I could have had a fun life in the church. And again, now if I had it all over do again, well, that's because the curses are shifting, right? Where their curses are focusing, right? That's all I want to, and they know it. All I want to do is like go to church and find a wife, and that was it. Correct. They're psychos, man. These cops that are into that stuff and all the other people, they're just plain out psychos, man. Plain old psychos. My Lord's asking me to do all that. Somebody's asking me to do all the security. I don't know who it is. Maybe they're going to hell, huh? Maybe they're starting to have to pay for it. No, the earth is supposed to stop them from doing all that crazy stuff to me. I'm disabled after all. Been disabled for decades. I could have found a nice woman, and I healed enough. I mean, I can't be in the government, that's for sure. After what they did, there's a lot to it. I only tell you parts of it. They're devils, man. They killed. They caused the death of Jonathan Luna. Just can't tell you how they did it. I mean, I don't know. Not that I can't. Don't want to tell you. Because I don't know if it was murder or suicide, but I've told you how that works. Thanks, Larry. No, that's not what I did. I didn't say anything about it. Right. Like once I said it, like probably 2008 or something. But again, they won't stop there. I mean, a sheriff's department stalking me, all sorts of shit. Right. And if anybody said, well, we're just testing them. We're just testing them. Yeah. Like I said, I went to a fundamental Baptist church and joined. And they said, well, what do you do for them? I said, I'm a deputy U.S. Marshal. I said, and he looked at me like Edith Bunker when she's like the dingbat. Huh? What are you doing here? You're the Antichrist. Right. But the funny part is they turned out to be that. They started working for the government against me. Right. Well, I'm sure they paid good money. Right. So if you're Baptist, and if this doesn't happen in the LDS church and you're Baptist, you have to understand why God would choose Joseph Smith and thanks, Larry, and the Mormons, or the LDS, should I say? Right. I just can't believe I can't find that. It's those sunglasses. That's kind of weird. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. All I had to do is let me live my life. I'd have found a woman, and it'd have been a good life for the both of us. I'm sure there's plenty of women that were needy. You know what I mean? Right. Well, cops see them all the time, but oh, there's my glasses. Thank you, Lord. Yeah, I didn't even pray to the Lord. Yeah, these fit much better. Like I bought those because I thought they'd look better, but they just look goofy because they don't fit over my lens. Right. Like they have foam on it for motorcycle riding, but again, It is what it is. No, there's people that never wake up in their life, man. God said if I never woke up, that he was contemplating taking me someplace where I'd never know that there was an awakened state here. Like our own heaven, you know. Where there's other people, oh, don't worry. No, God didn't create creation to be put to sleep. Correct. That's the majority of what's wrong with people's lives. Again, the lack of vision. Aren't you afraid to say that? It was Satan right now trying to drive me nuts with all the health issues. I mean, they always with Satan, the Satan incarnate. So evil's up. So Trump's kind of reducing some of the friction. That's cool. Right. But I still think you just go back to the original immigration system. I mean, it works for some deterrence to do that kind of stuff. But somebody was saying, I thought Boasberg said you could use Gitmo. Right. That I don't know if you all missed that. Maybe I saw it and it wasn't real. I don't know. But if Boasberg says you can use Gitmo, I'd get that done because that's the only thing you're going to be allowed to do. Right. I think Boasberg said bring them back and use Gitmo. We can agree to Gitmo because I never thought the Gitmo was really a place that you couldn't use. You just had to structure the support system. Again, okay, so federal judges will look like into anything. They don't look into every inmate complaint that comes in, but if something comes up where the inmates are complaining about something, I mean, they'll have hearings. But judges will go out there with their staff and stuff. I went out to a prison with a judge. And he, you know, I was the driver. We had two vehicles. Correct. And Judge Kaufman went out to, I don't know, it was Jessup or something. I don't remember where it was. One of the prisons in Maryland to inspect. He told me if he had his life to do over again, he'd be baseball commissioner. Thank you, Lance. Thank you, sir. So when you again, El Salvador, they can't inspect. They can't inspect that stuff. So, but if you use Gitmo, again, I think the judge that said you couldn't use Gitmo was wrong. But you have to understand there's a process. The judges will inspect any place you use, you know, or they can inspect any place you use. How you doing? And well, anybody that's been in the federal government as a law enforcement officer or corrections, they know that there's a system for those facilities. Now, Mr. Homan, he said, you know, this place in Connecticut, wherever it was, right, or where was it? Okay, it was Camden or something, Newark. It was New Jersey. He said it's a very, you know, it was a very high level of quality in that particular facility. That, you know, it was a safe facility. It has a lot of standards it has to meet, and it's probably true. Of all the things Homan says, that's probably true. Right, because the judges require it. Thanks, Larry. Well, again, those people are from Venezuela. They're not from El Salvador, majority of them. So again, it's not really an honest deportation. And like I said, to deport them, just make a deal with Maduro and get it over with, and then you won't have to worry about it. You just send them all there. Right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. What's happening is they're being hit in the head with stuff because the system's trying to rule them, and then they're trying to act like I'm the one saying it to them, and then they attack me. I believe that's been true for quite a while. What's this kid doing in here alone? Where's your family at, kid? I would never let my kid down here alone. All right. Okay, there's his family. All right. He's ahead of his family. Shouldn't let him that far ahead. Right. Thanks, Larry. This kid doing that. I swear, maybe I was dreaming, but I swear somewhere along the way, one of the judges said, just use Gitmo. Bring them back from, turn my mic down a little bit. Bring them back from El Salvador and use Gitmo. Right. Until we figure out how to, where and when to deport them. Right. I might be wrong, maybe in a different judge. I can't remember. But I don't believe all you have to do is provide like legal representation. I don't know if they get the right to have, every attorney that they want. Without, again, you have to provide that attorney access, but you don't have to fly that attorney out there or anything like that, unless that's what you want to do, right? So, well, you have like a morning run and an evening run. I know they have boats and other things they use. I can't remember all the stuff they do there. So if you're housing them at Gitmo, then you bring the attorneys out in the morning from, let's say, Florida or something. I don't know how long it would take to fly. And you fly them back in the evening. Or they could stay a week or something, whatever is decided, because you could have proceedings. And then they fly out a day or two before the proceeding. And you have your proceedings, and then they fly back a day later or something. Oh, this kid, I keep hearing this kid on his on his scooter. All right. He's ahead of his family again. Thanks, Larry. Well, because it's smoother. And again, I think you want a little, if they're going to let you use Gitmo, you want a little bit of a, an advantage because they were telling you no, I guess, or something. Or for some, I can't remember how it went down. Right. And that's kind of what started the whole thing, I think. Right. They wouldn't let you house them at Gitmo, so you took them somewhere else. Right. You think so, Larry? We agree, Larry. Mm-hmm. There's a judge somewhere. I'll have to see if I can find it later. Thanks, Larry. Actually, I might just walk on the lower trail today. I don't think I want to climb that hill tonight. Thank you, Larry. Wish I was riding my bike. I just didn't get in good enough shape to ride it. Actually, I went downhill. Right. I just would have stayed away and let me build my ark and all that. Just want to make sure that kid was with his family. There he goes again. I guess his mother's out. He's like zipping. He's going fast on a scooter, so his mother's walking brisk, but with a corgi. But he's zooming. Thanks. Well, I'm just saying, if you don't whine if the judge says something about your system. If you work with the judges, it works better actually. They can say, "Okay, Your Honor, we'll try to figure this out," and then try to figure it out. I mean, it's not impossible. We just got to have the right support services. Right. I guess you still have some people at Gitmo or something. Well, I think the judge was signaling that you can use a higher level security at Gitmo for certain detainees. Right. I think that's what it was. Oh. I'm not sure what the whole thing was, but I think the judiciary was just trying to get it to, to move and just, get past the matter and move to the next issue. Right. Well, that's the biggest issue on Gitmo is legal representation that I see. I don't think anything else is anything big a deal. Right. But as long as you don't hold them forever, you don't have to worry about visits or anything like that. And I'm not sure what detainee visit policy is and requirements. I know in the BOP there is some sort of requirement because you give somebody family visits when they're in federal custody, in a federal prison, and then if they misbehave, they lose their visits. So a lot of times when you give, the Trump administration doesn't have, it's not talking to it's the experts. These are all management tools that we use. So you give them things that you can take away. Right. And some correctional officers really have like a lot of like into it, How can I torture the inmate this week? We had a guy who said he poked holes with pins in there, like he didn't they're only allowed to have like two containers, to make their muscle milk or whatever. Well, some have 4, so I don't even care as long as they don't bother me. Bother me, then they don't have any. But what he would do, and he doesn't care, he just go. He's went to the ADX, so he's the type of guy that works at the ADX now, or I don't know where he ended up, right? But you would take a pin and poke their muscle milk container so that when they fill it with muscle milk, it would leak. If they have more than 2, or whatever the required number was. So there's these management tools that you can use, and I don't know for detainees. I don't know how that works because you don't keep them in custody. I guess that one. How you doing? Well, for correctional officer work, I mean, it's how you manage the prison. You give and take. And sometimes even an officer has his discretion to it, like officer, if he allows for. Right. So what happens is this is what happens. So they have like 4 muscle milk containers. Everybody has those, and then somebody like a gang of them do something. And then all the correctional officers come flooding down. Like somebody throws urine on an officer or something stupid like that. So all the officers come flooding down, and then they go through everybody's locker, and again they take all that extra stuff. So it's built in that you let them have extra stuff, so you can really like get everybody mad at the person. That's who. Well, if we find out who's going to tell us who's throwing you, no, okay, all right, check everybody's stuff. And you go in there and you just check everybody's stuff, and then you get mad at the person that threw urine on the officer. Well, obviously, if we're taking stuff during these shakedowns, these big shakedowns when we're, when they've misbehaved, that we allow extra stuff. It's built in to the management system. Well, because if you take everything all the time, then there's no incentive, right? I mean, you could take all muscle milk containers, but then the warden would go, come on, the social worker said to you. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, I'm telling you, I don't know who you're talking to or not talking to. There's a lot of management tools in the prison system. Right. Thanks, Larry. Again, but if you make everybody supermax when they're actually just medium or low security, that kind of messes that whole system up. Right. Well, the whole thing, the whole crazy part of it is that it's only at the most going to last 4 years. Right. I'm just telling you, people are not going to they're just you're not going to get Republicans are not going to get back in. Right. Now, BB sounds like he's going to do the right thing, but BB always says he's going to do the right thing, and then he turns out not doing it. So, well, we're doing it. I couldn't even get to it. I couldn't even get to a COVID shot, which may have been a good thing in the end, Right. And I didn't really have, when I had COVID, I didn't have that bad of COVID. Sorry. Let me heal these houses. I don't know. I'm seeing like, I'm not saying this in a perverted way. I'm seeing a lot of young teen girls like in these houses over here. So that's weird because I don't usually see that. Maybe it's the time of day that I usually walk. Right. But I'm going to heal this. Oh, right off the trail. I've looked it up many a times. Right. On the trail and houses right off the trail have a risk, who knows, right? So you have to do extra security in these areas. Right. I mean, it's even worth it to ride officers up and down these trails at night. I don't know. It could be a little dangerous for them, I guess, if they get jumped. Right. But if you had a pair of officers patrolling up and down the trail. Right. I don't know. Maybe you could figure out some vehicle. You could even like an ATV or something. Like a quiet ATV. Electric ATV or something. Right. You get those weird cases, isn't that weird? Like somebody just shows up in the house. Oh my God, there's someone in here. It's not us. Right. Or end up in the kid's bedroom, find them under the bed. I chatted with some teens years ago. I mean, I was new to everything was new to me, the internet. As far as chatting with people, I never chat with people before. Didn't know it, but I wasn't like going to meet any of them or have sex with them. Thanks, Larry. I was actually trying to be the cool Christian dude, but it didn't work because they were in there scumbagging. It's probably in the end. I figured it was agents anyway, right? Thanks, Larry. Or most likely, I mean. And then they brought somebody locally around me. I'm like, yeah. Thanks, Larry. I was actually in the right place, but I could never do what I needed to do. I didn't. Maybe I was supposed to be her friend for life. I don't know. Right. A handicapped person. Right. Disabled person. Right. Thanks, Larry. It didn't make any sense to me. I just there to tell her nice things, and that's about it. Thank you, Larry. Oh, she might need me later. There was some family problem. My preacher, I don't know, I asked the preacher about it before, and I can't remember why. I can't remember what was happening, but the preacher, I mean, he tortured me. I can't remember everything. The preacher was like, something about the family was screwed up. Right. 100%. And they ended up moving to Ohio. But I can't remember the whole thing. Well, her uncle was my friend. Or I tried to make him my friend. It was just crazy after that. The whole thing was crazy. Thanks, sorry. Well, you never know. No, I wasn't supposed to marry her or anything like that. They're going, oh, he thinks he's going to marry her later in life. I mean, it was, but I don't think that was it. Oh, was that that? She's got the corgi. That's a different one, I think. I'm kind of low energy right now. Mm, mm, mm. So what they did is when I tried to get my license in Santa Fe, they put like, you have to call Ohio. So I call Ohio and they're like, oh, don't worry about it. Trying to mess with my head. Right. Thanks, Larry. Like I'm thinking, what, I get a ticket or something? I drove to Ohio before. I wonder if I tripped one of those traffic cams or something. But then I was like, oh, it's probably that stupid thing. Right. I wonder if these kids know how good they got it. They got these electric scooters. They all got fishing rods. Just zoom. Like it was a special kid in the neighborhood that had motorized anything back then. Some of the motorhead kids, they would develop, even when they were younger, they developed like motorhead vehicles, like electric skateboards or gas-powered skateboards or bikes. Right. The spirits are here. There is an afterlife for you, Mar. God and I go chill somewhere and talk it out a bit, and then I imagine something happens. I don't think it's my first wife. I really don't think, like, because God was pretty adamant that went bad and it wasn't supposed to happen. And he teed off, and I think he hit a tree. It's real narrow. It's a big clearing opening, and then you have to go through this narrow openings in the trees and onto the green. I think he whacked a tree. So sorry. Could be my new massage therapist. Now, don't go crazy that I said it, but it could be anybody. The person you end up in the afterlife could be anybody if you don't have, a real life here, right? Thank you, Larry. Like God told me when I heard that the Mormons had heavenly families and stuff, and I said, look, God said, don't worry if you have a bad life here, because your earthly family's not going with you if they're a bad family, right? Thank you, Larry. Those people will have another family, like God said, like with you, there'll be could be an LDS woman somewhere that will pass on again, and then like the weird part is, again, I'm not getting weird. There could be a big age difference. Could be even 100 years between the person you spend your afterlife with. Because apparently I was supposed to hit the planet with Jesus. Right. Well, I guess I wasn't supposed to take a body, but I thought I did hit the planet with Jesus. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I got here late when he was older. Supposedly I was there for the last few years, for the ministry. Now, see, I don't know if I live that after I leave or not. Did I live this before this life or after this life? Well, because the Hare Krishnas say most people don't remember their lives beforehand. Now, this is, again, the idea of lives is different than what a Christian would believe, right? A spiritual life. Again, I believe some people do live multiple lives on the planet. Thanks, Larry. Looks like the young girls will dress better at church today. Maybe God will let you up. And the Spirit said that. The Spirit said, well, what do you think, more? I'm like, well, it's a little bit skimpy, but it'll work. It's like knee length. Most of it, at least knee length. Thanks. Which is where it should be, at least knee length. Thanks, Larry. So there was no because the other one was like thigh length, I think. And it was just a mile away. And I'm like, how old are you? Who let you wear that? Thanks, sir. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I got in trouble once, though. I was wearing below the knee shorts, but they were still considered shorts at a fundamental Baptist camping trip. We don't wear shorts around here. Well, I figured, they were below the knee. No, we don't wear them at all. And then later, God was like, he's wrong. People girded their loins in the Bible. Those are shorts. Right. But again, greater work shall you do. Maybe that's more modest. Maybe a little bit easier on the eyes for people not to lust after one another, even though they sexualized me in that church. Correct. With the government. I didn't know what it was. I'm like, that's weird. Women are trying to pick me up in church. The hell is this? It's like random sock. It's like a random sock everywhere. Like in the middle of the blacktop parking lot. Thank you, Larry. They possessed my mind. I couldn't even know that I should go to a doctor and have them look at something. All right. Agreed, Larry. I just couldn't think of it. Thanks, Larry. Tired. I called the missionaries and want to talk to them, find out if they figured out. They're asking me who do you want to baptize you? Who do you want? It's easy in the Baptist church. The preacher baptized me. So today the Spirit said, the bishop, tell me what the bishop to baptize you. My younger days, I might have done it. Right. Believe me, it could be Joseph Smith. I'm related to a lot of people in the spirit world. Did a lot of work for them. Thank you, Larry. Oh, God can forgive everything you have written could be changed in an instant. Right. God could forgive everybody, like from the get-go, and everybody just goes their separate ways. But it's highly unlikely. Based upon the outcome of my life. Could have changed it 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and all in between that, even 5 years ago. Right. No, I thought you were being funny. A lot of them are fired now, Right. But again, they might end up millionaires. Just depends how the court cases go. Boy, you're still trying to make me homeless. I get back to my apartment and they try to make me depressed. A little bit crazy in my apartment this morning. Got no idea what they're doing. But again, it seemed like it coincided with me going to Amazon, so they're doing something around my Amazon. Right. Well, here I am. Now, there's no reason for them to have done any of it. my health was definitely coming back a little bit when I moved in here. Right. And I was able to get to a lot of projects, doing a lot of moving around. And then they started breaking in. That was it. Must have drugged me. Now they will stuff, so your life either goes that direction or looks like it's going that direction. Right. I mean, they know what's going on. They know they're doing it, and the person's like innocent a lot of times, but they're trying to make them guilty. Possess their mind by torturing them. Right. Now where did that see? Now I can't find that plastic bag for those glasses. I'm still returning them. I don't give a shit, Amazon. Don't play that game with me. Amazon disappeared the last day. Well, try them on one more time, more. I mean, you sure you don't want them? I mean, these people like living trillionaire lives, and they all like, oh no, we can't afford the return. My brother, like, he's all into, yeah, it's a lot of money those returns. My brother, they don't buy that much. Right. I actually buy a ton. I'm actually a better customer than my brother. He's a multi-millionaire. Right. If I was a multi-millionaire, my brother goes, "Oh, you need help. I need you to come to me." I say, "Okay, you come here. You can stay here for a little bit. If you need me to help you get an apartment, I'll get you an apartment." Right. And a lot of people said that. A lot of cops are like, "Your family is shit, man." Like what they did. Oh, it's in here. They wrote it up. I thought it was in. I got the thought that it was in here. So it's probably like Joseph Smith telling me that. Yeah. Well, actually, it was Moroni. It said. More oni, more oni. You get it? More O and I. Me, I don't know anybody. Oh God, God says you really don't know me. You've done so much for me. I'm his all-purpose tool. But he tried to get me to select somebody. I said, I'm not going to tell anybody to do anything at my baptism. If they want to do it, then they volunteer. You can ask them. I said, I'm a jack of all trades and master of none. Right. Get it? Right. God's the boss. I'm not. Yeah, I should have stayed in Amish country and became Amish, I'd probably have been a better life. They'd have got me married. I had some widow somewhere. I'm in the Amish head. I know I've been in the Amish head before. Right there. I went through their community, stayed there for a while in Lancaster County, and I played Lee Greenwood. In mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. Right. I think they appreciated it. They look like they appreciated it after a while, like after a couple of days of doing it. I announced the coming of the Lord, man. No, the world changed for a lot of people. They woke up, man, and they heard the Lord. Right. But again, a lot of people weren't in the government and they weren't being killed, so their life kind of just went smooth. Right. Agreed, Larry. I really feel like going for a massage sooner. I got the baptism's like in the way of me getting my massage. And I think she enjoys, the money. So, right. Again, I don't think she has a lot of clients. She's just starting out over there, I think, or has recently. But like she's pretty cold about religion. And again, I understand, especially if she's gay. I don't know. She's a nice person. Again, that's where we need to focus, right? And I studied the whole gay thing, the whole what's the other thing, the trans thing, and It's just metaphysics. And if you heal it, it goes away. And some people have healed. And it's obvious because they they detransition. Right. Thank you, Larry. But again, you can't heal it all the time because why? Because the planet's not doing the right thing. Well, you don't have to be trans. You don't. I mean, like it's again like the afterlife. You no longer want to be trans. Right? You no longer want to be gay. You no longer. And again, when you think about it like conservatives, they no longer want to bash people that are gay or bash people that are trans. It's the same thing. Same. It's possession. But again, if you project your will, then no, I can't. I can never. I told you that. They cursed me, and I was possessed in the mind. And I tried testing something investigatively. It just got weird, right? But yeah, I can't effectuate my own will. I just can't. I already made parameters that I can't. And God said you can't anyway. You would never disobey me, willfully. That is. Again, Jesus sinned. He really did, but he didn't sin because where is sin? What you physically see, or is that where the intentions of the heart? Intentions of the heart. Right. I mean, it's basic Bible. I mean, you people don't want to agree to the basic Bible. You want to make up some bullshit because you're living great lives, you got money, you got family, nobody ever cursed you off enough to have a bad life. Right. Right. 100%, Larry. Thanks, Larry. Kiss the mezuzah. So I don't know where the golden plates were and how it all worked, but before I think I knew about the golden plates, I knew because I was in a vision. When I got hit in Omaha, I was in a vision, and then all of a sudden I was drugged. I think it was like the day before, right? The day before I was in a vision. See how Satan works, right? I remember Satan attacked Moses in I don't remember what book or what chapter of the and verse of the Book of Mormon, but I'll have to get it on there. I think it's in the video. Right? I had the same thing, and that's when I had that incident in Omaha. Correct, Larry. But the day before, it was so weird. I was in a vision. I'm like, this is weird. Could I have been drugged? Well, maybe, but I felt like I was in a vision. Right. So later, when all the stuff started coming in intuitively, wait a second, I'm going. That came up again, where Joseph Smith was in a vision. He's physically in the vision. So it doesn't mean like anybody saw any of it except for the people that saw it, because then they were in the vision theoretically. Well, in Scripture, a lot of times people don't know that some of that is happening in vision versus physical. But again, you're in the vision. You're outside of time and space for momentarily. Right. God says that back then, there's another thing that God had said, that he takes people from the inside and talks to them, out of their presence of their mind, outside of time and space. So the Hare Krishna says that God can't alter time and space, and that's probably more about this place than actual reality. There is no time and space in reality. It's just whatever God says it is. Oh my God. That's why in Vaishnava stuff, and I think it's also in the Hindu stuff, Krishna's abode, God's abode, expands and contracts based upon God's will. But what you will today, if you move your will, will travel through time and space, and just how much power do you have to change time and space, right? So you can ruin my childhood just so you could curse me today, right? See? Oh my God. Because if my childhood didn't go the other way, it's kind of like a paradox. But if my childhood would have been real, I'd have had a real life, right? Oh my God. But then again, like a lot of people around me were just drones, for Satan. So yeah, if I'd have thought about it, if I'd have went and sought help from an abuse entity, there wasn't too many back in the 70s, right? I'd have been probably out of there. Correct. So my brother's like, "Will you let people use you?" I said, "Look, I was asleep, Steve." They just will it, and it happens. And it's still like, so what happens is I wake up, but now it's like the entire federal government, CIA, FBI. Now they're going to will shit. And now I can actually like live somewhat of a normal life, right? But they never let it happen, right? Like things have been weighing in and saying when you leave the government like that, you're supposed to be afforded a peaceful life. You left on a disability, and you're supposed to be afforded a normal, peaceful life. Yeah, I got to take this to my next appointment. I got this bigger gua sha I'm using. Doesn't it sound like something I would say? Gua sha. Actually, yasha lama wa shala falata gaja wa gua sha. No, they weren't supposed to be my life. I was supposed to just live a peaceful life. Right. It was actually represented to me that that's what they were about. I just wish California would have worked. Right. I just couldn't figure it out. I guess really what I want to do is just get rid of that Bronco, right? And because I could always eventually get a loan. I guess I didn't know for sure. Right. I can't remember how I got to the Volkswagen dealer because I think my Bronco died, or maybe it was just on the verge of dying. But I remember I was at a Volkswagen dealer walking around waiting. I may have called my mom. I can't remember. I was waiting to see if they would approve my credit. I paid like crazy interest on that Volkswagen. Right. It was a nice vehicle, really, to have gotten. Just wish life would have went better. There's no reason that people were in my gym harassing me, right? Whether they were cops or not. Some claim to be cops. Right? No, I should have just met somebody and that would be it, like everyone else, man. I mean, well, you all have weird lives where you have to date for a while till you can figure out who you want to marry. I just go, God, which one? Thanks, Larry. Nah, it's weird because their spells got to the point where there was nothing. Right. Yeah, not only physically operated, it's just hid me from like real life. Like I'm seeing real life now. I'm like, wow, whoa. Again, it's shocking. It's PTSD in itself. They tortured me, man. They isolated me and tortured me. The biggest devils on the planet. They'll go to hell, man. Believe me. I was here to do a work, right? And I did. Like God reminds me, you did a work. It goes. See, with God, you got choices, all of you. So it doesn't matter. You want to destroy me? Well, that's the work that I do. Then we'll take out the planet. Right. Agreed. I mean, a couple of years I can agree with, maybe even 5 years, but you're all nuts. You're all psycho nuts. God, I told you when I woke up, the big deal was, God sealed my forehead and said, I said, what's that? The angel said, we sealed your forehead. You're the angel Ariel, I guess. And you're safe to, this is before I read about law being sealed and all that. I think law was sealed. Right? But They say these are keys for you to get places because we can trust you around certain types of creation. 100%. Thanks, Larry. And that goes forever, actually. Right. That's how I got where I did. The angels gave me, God gave me keys to get there. It's like otherwise I never would have gotten to Sikhism or Hare Krishna or even back to the LDS or some other churches. Right. Oh, I mean that's what you send cops around. It's through my life. I'm not going to get to a church in Naples. That you all did it, right? I've been in like a Baptist church in Naples, and it probably been over, right? 100%. Thanks, Larry. I wonder if Costco guys are going to tell them, "Oh, it's not. There's nothing. There's no difference with that and the other." But I mean, it's like buying a car and finding out they are released the next month. I mean, but you would know, but right, that is screwed up. There was nothing on. There's barely anything online now. But it's a big quandary because Costco sells those, and there's so many that were bought probably that month, right? But you have 6 months to get to return it, right? I mean, they weren't too happy with me, I guess, but it's kind of screwy. There's nothing online telling you that because I could wait 2 weeks. If you'd have told me, hey, the new one's going to be released, in a couple weeks, I said, well, I guess I'll wait, right? But I was a little leery with my cheap hearing aid going to church. I'm like, oh, this is going to be weird. But this one, it handled it like a champ. And I knew the other person was speaking low because everybody, like somebody, like the guy he would speak to, he asked somebody a question and the person was speaking low. And then when he would speak, it would be real loud. I could turn my hearing aid up and I still can't hear this guy. Get like eavesdrop on people with hearing aids. I never let my head. Most of my time was spent just alone, mostly talking to God and that kind of stuff. It wouldn't let anything happen, man. Believe me. I met people sporadically, and they just wouldn't even let a friendship come up from it, right? I mean, you're talking like 30 years worth at least, right? So every time I go to church, they use disruption technology to disrupt it. That's going back decades, right? 3 decades. Now, hopefully tonight I'll be able to pay the Book of Mormon. Right. The bishop looks like Judge Grimm. No idea who authorized any of it. They should burn in hell, I'll tell you that. There's no way that they didn't know that they were killing somebody and torturing somebody. Right. Now, again, I let God judge that. I don't judge those type of things. Right. Maybe by some twist of fate, you're innocent somehow. Right. Someone said, but I don't think so. But I always have to put it there because that's where it needs to be. Because I don't judge. I actually, based upon who I am, I'm allowed to judge. It's in the scriptures, but I said to God, I said, nah, that's your thing. I don't judge nothing. It's like I don't pick people to baptize me. They have to volunteer. All right. Look, now where's that other gua sha thing? This is horrible. They already disappeared it because they cursed it when I bought it. They have actually cursed it when I was speaking. Right, see, if you don't speak about anything, then we don't curse it. You made an error by speaking. They're nutty pieces of garbage. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, they willed me not to order a bunch of stuff. I have to get back to it. I gotta get a new. I need a new suit jacket. I could use this one if I took it to the cleaners, I guess. I'm gonna change my name to Ezekiel Isaiah Moore. So I'm passing this place today, and I took a turn, and it's called the Isaac. And the spirits go, see, that's where you're supposed to live. You see, Isaac. I said, yes, but I don't have my Jewish $2,000 a month to rent that. Right. Thank you, Larry. God bless you, Larry. No, because I got a bunch of goyim troublemaking neighbors. Taking 30 pieces of silver all day. Right. Satan tried to get me to buy a silver tie tack. I said, nope, not in the Mormon temple, I won't. It's got to be gold. Or Latter-day Saints. Who doesn't say Mormon? Do they really not say Mormon at all? I mean, when you're at home alone, you go, Well, the Mormons. It's actually, you have to say Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to say, you know. I hope I get back to normal feeling because I don't feel normal at all. I'm hoping my health comes up a little bit and I feel well again. But I could be dying. I don't know. I guess I'm walking too much to be dying generally. I mean, it just boggles the freaking mind how they think and take somebody's life like that. Right. I just can't believe they did that with that woman in Santa Fe. And they're like looking at me like I'm weird. I'm like, what? She's 34 years old and she's got like a 21-year-old boyfriend. I'm not trying to be her boyfriend or nothing. Right. I mean, I'm not weird. I mean, that's how it is. Like everywhere you go, they're like pointing at me, and I'm like, but look at these people. What kind of lives they live? I mean, look at those people that were the pedophile hunters. I mean, he's a pedophile. It's just it was a few years later, and they all turned. The girls turned over 18. Right. Well, I don't know what the age is. Who knows? In Mexico, it's probably gonna have sex with a girl that's 14. Weirdos over there. So you get to Oklahoma City, and what do you think's happening? The conservatives in Oklahoma are listening to the weirdo liberals in New Mexico telling them that I'm the trouble, right? And I'm weird, right? Oh shit! I mean, it happened here in Kansas also, right? You got to watch what your cops are doing, right? No, they're enforcing the pedophile rules. What's going on, right? No, when I tell somebody, so I talked to this girl. It's supposed to be 17. I don't know if she's 17 or 27. I don't know. The FBI is messing around me, right? So, but I'm at a store, and I go to the stores and I talk to people on camera. I'm not doing anything, right? So, so I tell her, you should be a cop. You seem like a good person to be a law enforcement officer. You should look into that field to study. I mean, that's the kind of thing I'm doing, right? No, you feel psychic. I think you're psychic. That's the kind of stuff I say. That's it, right? Thanks, Larry. I, like transmission of energy. Like people say that to me. I said to my massage therapist, I said, I think you. What kind? Where's your family from? It must be Spain, right? Because a lot of people from Spain had that Sephardic kind of thing going. No, like okay, so I was in yoga in Gold's Gym in South Beach, and we had to do something. I don't remember what. Sandra was the instructor. I think she was a lesbian. She liked me, but like it was, it's like not an option. She used to, I guess she had money in New York and South Beach. She'd split her time, right? Thanks, Larry. And so she paired us off, and I again, it wasn't, usually I think it was just, same, women on women, men on men. It wasn't like, men touching women, that kind of thing, right? And so we did like, I don't remember what we did, but it was like I transmitted energy to the dude, and maybe it was healing. I can't remember, like Reiki or something, but it was just a yoga class, and the dude was like, dude, I guess he got high off it. No, back in the day, they used to tell me you got great energy. Like a lot of women would say, you got great energy. Right? And they killed me, man. That's sick. Right? Thank you, Larry. No, it wasn't a gay thing. It was just like an energy thing. Like I energized him. See, that's what they do. They try to keep everything a secret. They don't want anybody to know the reality. Right? Thanks, Larry. Darn, where did the gua sha go? I have the big one. I can't find the small one. The small one's the one with that angle for the chin and all that. So sorry, brother. Can't remember if I took. Actually, no, it has to be in the morning. Wait, no, it's twice a day. So I have to take my. I can't remember if I took my Zatador. I don't think I took my Zatador. Took it once today. Right, I have to do my Zatador. It's up here in my stuff here. Thank you, Larry. That was so weird. I mean, they like I would go on assignment and I'd be operated and stuff. It was like crazy. Like I knew what they were doing in the gym working after that. You know, they tried killing me and all that. But Jim had a good wife and all that. That's really what saved him. If they can't get your wife to turn on you, it's very difficult to kill you. Right? Thank you. I mean, my wife was so far. I mean, they took advantage of her big time. Correct. Thank you, Larry, for everything. God bless you, Larry. God bless you. I didn't know nothing. I mean, I hit the ground running at a certain point once God started waking me up, and that's what freaked them out because they knew I woke up. So they try to kill you before you wake up. Right. Oh my God, that's what they're doing. Like if you figure it out, they could be in a lot of trouble. You know, I mean, of course, you know, it's kind of foolhardy, not foolhardy, but it's kind of BS because, you know, nobody's going to do it. Like here we are, you know, 23 years later, and nobody's still doing anything. Right. Right. The only thing that kept me, I believe it, wine. Wine, God said wine's okay. You just can't drink to excess. And I used to, you know, drink wine and when I was at home, and that's probably the only thing that really saved me. I mean, it's like a relaxer, you know, right? Actually, if I drank, I may actually, based upon what happened in my life where I got tight and all that, it may have actually been better to drink a little bit. Right. 100%. Actually, there's a physician's assistant from Barton County Community College that taught at Fort Riley, the EMT course, and he swore by it. He said, you know, it's always, you know, when it comes to, because, you know, he has a course on alcohol, and he says, you know, it's not always horrible to, I know there's a lot of studies out now, but again, they don't have the studies on that part of it, right? Where it helps you relax and you, right, you don't have as many maybe muscular issues or osteo or something like that, right? Thank you, Larry. Just don't pickle your liver. Agreed, Larry. So that was probably like I drink a beer here or there, and I buy a six pack. I wouldn't even drink the whole thing. But like when I was in Santa Fe, and that probably was good for me. Right, help me relax. Correct. And keep this thing at bay. And of course, the the LDS. If you have a medical reason to do something, then you know you have to do it. You know, within reason. You can't have like gay orgies because your doctor says have gay orgies. Right. Thanks, Lee. You know, or go to the bar and hang out at the bar because the doctor says you need to, you know, it would help if you drink a couple drinks a week or something, or a few drinks a week, right? Thanks, Larry. It was like I was in the Hare Krishnas. The one guy bought coffee into the temple and they like lost it. You know, so he said, you know, we don't care what you do at home, okay, but you know, not here. Come on. I forget what his name was. It wasn't Sakshi. No, it was Sakshi was the other dude, guy from India. from Bengal. Who's the other guy? Um, oh, I think was he? No, he wasn't a Kripa Sindhu. There's Kripa Sindhu was two other guys. Kripa Sindhu's in heaven already. I wish I had just been up higher so I could think to connect to that guy before. He's a hard worker. He dedicated himself to the Lord. Again, when you see people like that, they're in a different religion than say Jesus, a Jesus-based religion, but they're dedicating their life to God. I mean, this guy was kind of, he was. I'm sure he was in pain and wasn't that healthy, and he'd go there every morning at like 4 in the morning and chant and cook, and he just would cook for the Lord all day long. And as long as they needed him, and right. He actually had been around when Srila Prabhupada was around. And, it feels good when a Srila Prabhupada, like a serious Srila Prabhupada disciple, he's like the monk, he's got like 3 teeth left, wearing tattered stuff. He's like the real deal, not like, because you'll see the ones that became gurus and they're living like prima donna lives with like $7 million in the bank. Right. Have a nice residence in India, that kind of thing. Right. But he was a real deal. Maybe they're cooking all morning. But when somebody like that approves of you, it's very touching. Right. He really liked me. Yeah, he had a little bit of edge. I didn't approve of racism, and again, things happen. People get jaded. A little bit of racist edge, I think. But again, maybe he was harmed. But I think he was in the New York Temple or something. When Srila Prabhupada visited, and he had some stories of that. I mean, Srila Prabhupada was big on the people that visit and make everything perfect, and it's kind of how he was, and we were service minded. They just hate you when you're service minded, right? So I didn't have a lot of power in that organization because I was just starting out, but I'm advanced spiritually. Again, I'm a sinner saved by grace, but I have knowledge, right? And I had the drive for service, like instantly. I just went in, just started. Every temple, every Hare Krishna temple I was in, I washed their dishes and pots and pans. Everyone. It's just where the Lord put me. It was okay, have at it. All right. But see, Lord's in their head. The Lord's looking what's going on. So the Lord is testing with that also. Right. Now there's a guy, he's, the thing I know, and the Lord has told me, anybody treats me well, like honestly well, they have a great afterlife, a fabulous afterlife. Some even were blessed in this life. So I go to the Atlanta temple. I think I'm coming back from something up north, like a yoga thing or something, like in Illinois and Indiana, or Illinois, I think it was. All right. Or maybe going back to my mother's from India, I can't remember. And there's a Bengali dude, and I get in there, and I'm like, I said, can I wash your dishes and your pots and pans? And he said, yes. Young guy. And, I go in there and I do my thing. I clean all the pots and pans. I mean, there's no real dishes. It's like usually paper stuff and all that. But, you got the pots and pans and utensils. So I did all that at the Atlanta temple. And, thank you, Larry. Well, that's where I believe the person I saw was trans. And the Lord and the Holy Spirit like surrounded me. I didn't take my shoes off. And there was somebody taking their shoes off, and I believe it was a trans person. And I could be wrong, I could be right. And but I think it was a trans person. And the Lord surrounded me, and the Holy Spirit surrounded me. And the idea was like at least they have some place to go to worship the Lord. Correct. So I'm in there, and we do that, and the guy's like, "Hey, I got a room upstairs where you can stay for the night." I mean, I didn't even ask. So that guy will be blessed by Krishna. Thank you. I'm a demigod too. It doesn't mean anything, but I'm a demigod and an angel. Right. Well, it's when you enter into a hierarchical life, like my life, when I'd have been like aborted or something or miscarried, if I didn't have His power to be born, right, and to live this life. I mean, they were that bad. It was that heavy on me, right? Thank you, Larry. Well, Jesus is a demigod, right? That's only with the Lord of Lords. He's a leader of all the demigods. But it doesn't mean, like Jesus just said, like you said, it doesn't mean anything. Though. It's because we're in a hierarchical world. Right? Like Jesus is the biggest boss on earth, really. When you break it down to the system, right? Oh my God. Thanks, Larry. I'm supposedly in his heavenly family. Again, Mormon LDS, if somebody sits down and analyzes, oh yeah, that's possible. Right. 100%. Yeah, there's some conflict. And so if I hit the planet and I was supposed to be here the same time as Jesus, was Jesus not supposed to be in a body? Possibly. Again, God just goes with it when it happens and makes up something, not to make it up, but he makes a system around what happens. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Well, God says Jesus and I were oracles before we got here, so people could hear from us. So if they had questions, they could ask us questions and we get answers. Like I said, God doesn't do all the work. God, shares it with creation. Why would God create creation to, lord over everything? Thank you, Larry. Yeah, one of the keys is, and especially in the end times, is not to sit in the temple of God or the temples of God as if you are God. Well, if you have a standard, you have a standard, and you're going to have your standards. And again, the idea, like if you look at federal court, okay, if a trans person comes into even your church and you're not comfortable with that, you're allowed to restrict membership and entrance. Right. But the key is this, and again, this is where God is with it. Generally, again, maybe it's better to reach out to people and whatever, but as long as there's a place for them to go, I mean, right. Now, if they had no place to go, I don't know how a federal court would rule. Right. If they said, look, I want to be a Christian and there's no other place I can go. The nearest one is 200 miles. Right. Well, if there's a church that the way freedom of religion works with freedom of, everything else, right? Thank you, Larry. And you're right. Your rights as a trans person is that you don't have a right to walk into a church and say, I want this church to be something that wants me to be here, when you can go to another church that says, okay, yeah, we want you here. Right. It's just how it's one of the few times when civil rights kind of crash into each other. Right. I believe the Bible instructs you to bake the cake and take a gospel tract and put it, in the box with the cake. And not say anything. I mean, but the thing is, if you put a gospel tract in a cake where gay people are getting married, then you have to put a gospel tract in everybody else's cake also. Which again, is a great idea, right? 100%. No, I think the Bible tells you to bake the cake. Again, Paul tells you stuff like that will happen, and you may feel like you're sinning, but what you're doing, if you do it for the gospel's sake. And again, I'm not telling you to like run a prostitution ring for the gospel's sake. I'm not telling you that, because that's what the deep state will put in your head, right? Thank you, Larry. Yeah, people don't know what the Bible means or what the Bible says. Pretty much it. Right. So again, the scriptures didn't say everything, but they said information would be forthcoming in the end times. It did say that. Correct. So part of it is that in the end times, the spells and the possessions and all that are so voluminous and so anti-powerful that there's additional forgiveness, and that makes, additional grace. That makes total sense, right? Correct, Larry. Correct. Thanks, sir. Most gay people will be forgiven, just like most whatever will be forgiven, whatever other sin you want to talk about, like causing strife. Well, we all cause strife. So people that cause strife, most will be forgiven as long as they don't project and cause other people to fall. Again, physically, you can see people causing other people to fall, but it doesn't mean that they're in their right mind. Like they have the power not to cause each other. That scenario. Like let's say drug dealing. You have a drug dealer and you have somebody buying drugs. Okay, you cause that person to fall by selling them drugs, but it's not there. It's spiritual. God looks on the hearts. What are their intentions? What caused them to fall? Again, Jesus spoke on things that cause the little ones to fall. Well, if you can take down an angel's life, you can take down an earthly being's life, right? I agree. You can take down a son of God's life. You can obviously take just because a lot of these people are just earthly beings, or even just they're not earthly beings because again, planet Earth was designed by evil, and again, this isn't Earth in the Bible, but again, the Bible does call it Earth because theoretically, the Earth was where the garden was. This isn't where the garden is. The garden is a whole different thing. Right. In the scriptures, it says they were put outside the garden, but I think there's other books now that say, like the Book of Adam and Eve, and maybe even the Book of Enoch, maybe even Sefer Raziel. Right. They fell to this place, so now they're in bodies that can die. Right. So where, like how the LDS say that you have a human body in that other place. Well, yes and no. Right. Well, your body's not. Nobody can take a knife and kill you in that other place. Correct. Thank you, Larry. And then again, when you're form and formless, and you can do all sorts of things. You're made in the image of God. That means you're form, and you can take form, and you can be formless. God takes form. God doesn't take a physical body. God takes form, though. Right. I guess the LDS city was in a physical body, but again, not sure what God's doing there, but God will do a lot of stuff. Well, because God, okay, I don't know what happened here. It's just like an experiment gone wrong. God wants to live lives with people. It's like Hollywood to God. And God's, the director. Right? But like God likes to star in some of his films. Well, I don't know. The LDS say it's a man, like a man or something like a being, but God's pretty darn big. So I'm not sure where that's all going to end. Again, I know every religion has something. Every religion has information that's not 100%. I'll tell you that every single religion that was ever thought of has something that's not 100%. Right. Oh my God. And like I said, to my therapist, because she was asking like religion, because talking about religion, she's not 100% into it. I said, well, religion is generally man's interaction with God, not necessarily God's interaction with man. And if you go to the scripture, it actually says it. The Bible will say that, God says, as the heavens are higher, higher than the earth, so am I higher than the earth. My ways are not your ways. See? I just wish they would let me live my life. I could have got to church sooner. It's just very sad. But again, it's almost like a torture. So again, that's probably why they let it happen, or not necessarily why they let it happen, but why it's happening. Right. I know Renee was a guy from Venezuela I was helping. He told me he was with the LDS, and that's why I actually took special interest in helping him. Because I know I was linked to the LDS. I just couldn't get there. Right. So I was like, okay, this is my cue. I'm supposed to help this guy. Just like I heal the missionaries every time I saw them. Like I drive down the road, oh, there's missionaries. Whoa, healed. Oh my God. Thanks, Larry. Oh, I could get cursed probably. Nah, I wouldn't say you curse as much as me, but if I didn't work in the government, I wouldn't have been cursed like this. Not at all. But again, being cursed, that's why I ended up working in the government and working in that office. So they were like, oh, you should be flattered. Baltimore asked for you by name. Oh, isn't that nice? I mean, then they killed me, man. Imagine that. I could have went to another office where I had a normal life. I could have been in Chicago with Christopher Shaw or Detroit with that other guy. Oh, my God. Let's see. Thanks, Larry. Oh, my God. Upset, Larry. If I was in Chicago, I'd probably have a great life. Probably been an inspector. Definitely would have been an inspector if they didn't do this. Oh, there's the gua sha. Thank you, God. Didn't even think to pray about it, and God found it. Yeah, that's how I live my life. Thanking God all day long. Nah, I didn't know my cranial tissues were getting crushed. That's why I got all sick like this. That's why my sinuses were screwed up, my hearing screwed up, right? My vision's a little screwed up. I couldn't get to it. Again, I couldn't get to nothing. It was crazy. Right. They knew it. I've probably drugged along the way. I mean, if I ever overcome it, they'll drug me, and it's just the way that works. Thank you, Lurch. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of, I just scraped it a little. See, I can feel the inflammation now. See, the woman, she told me, she's like, okay, that's all, your muscles are almost inflamed. We got to get the lactate acid out of it. Mm. Mm. All right. No, they were devils, man. Well, maybe next time you won't mess with my Book of Mormon broadcast, and I won't speak about you as much. Sounds good to us. Now they spelled it hard. She, like there's a woman they call Satan. I don't know who it is. I guess the officers call her Satan. Well, I said it's Satan, and then they started calling her Satan. Inside at least, and so Satan must have got mad that I was like broadcasting LDS stuff. The spells were heavy, man. You all messed up on the planet. These people are like when you explain this planet to God, these people don't get way, but they actually have all the way, right? You gave devils the way, and you tell God the good people get the way, right? Like a wrench. Yeah, it was funny. I got to speak about IDLE worship, idol worship, right? So when God judges people, He looks at the intentions of the heart. But sometimes, again, you have to understand. It's like I just explained about Srila Prabhupada, and like in the Hare Krishnas, when you're serious, you like people coming in to eat. You're there to serve them. Right? Again, love God, love creation. It's not that hard, right? So that which will be first will be last. That which last will be first. It's kind of that concept, right? So again, the term is constitutional position to God. Again, Krishna, that's one of the terms they use. But the constitutional position that you're to take in reference to God and creation is that you're here to serve the other creation. So when they're the sinner, there's something wrong and you need to fix it. And that's, again, metaphysical. You're to heal it and pray for them, right? Thank you, Larry. But not necessarily, again, rebuke is in there, but there's a higher level, again, charity, hope, faith, charity. So there's a higher level of effectuation, right, than rebuking. But you're using a lower level of. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, again, the sinner is last on this. Again, sinners that are asleep. It's trans people. They're like the last. I mean, who wants to be in a man's body and be a woman, or be in a woman's body, be a man, whatever it is, right? It's a very difficult life. Right, Larry. So I should have known something was up. I've been wearing my big sunglasses. I don't have to stop. I know everything. I knew everything, and you wouldn't let me tell anybody anything because you're devils. And you want to run a devil world and tell the church they have to be subservient to you or they get nothing. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir. Well, part of what they did is they never told anybody that was helping the government because they didn't want anybody to know that. They wanted to tell them that was a criminal, right? But again, you don't have a right to kill somebody. All of you, 100%, Larry. Thanks, Larry. I agree, Larry. They were scamming everybody, and that's really what happened. Like Rick Henry's a flim flammer, right? The grifter. Marshall Hughes is a grifter. Thanks, Larry. And the audacity, just because I work for the Marshal Service, they think they own me and my life. After they destroyed, tried to kill me. Face it, 100%. They killed Jonathan Luna, and they tried to kill me. Correct. At a minimum, it's psychological murder. Oh, Larry's not posting about psychological murder. We should have let him up for stopping that. But they didn't, of course. Everything they say is bullshit. 100%. So my brother the whole time thinks like I'm living the life he lives, and all I have to do is, do what they want, and I'll get everything, Thanks, Larry. And in the absence of that, I'm not going to help you while they take out my family. Correct, Larry. Now, my brother had it in his power to help me. He wouldn't do it. Right. And I guarantee if I had got to my brother's house 5 years ago, he'd have been just enamored with me, him and his wife, because of all the things I'd have did for them. Right. 100%. It's like my brother's really weird. So he got mad because my mother and I got in a fight, and Ethan was there, his son, my nephew, and I'm thinking, my brother yells at my mother all the time. he's like that. He'll judge you for something that he does all the time, right? And I was living with my mother, and she was miserable. And I finally told him one time, I said, "Why do you do this? Why do you agree with her about me? I don't agree with her when she talks about you, right? Because she's full of it, right?" And they whacked my mother's head too, so it's a shame, right? No, she was all in, with me because I told her because Peggy was saying, like Jim's wife said a bunch of shit. Like she was with yeah she was the weak link. Peggy was the weak link. She lied to Jim about a bunch of stuff. Or I probably wouldn't even have left right when I did. She tried to tell him that I was looking at a place in Grand Rock and I was ready to go. I'm like, no, I'm going to New Jersey. My mother came up there and Peggy started trying to run me into the ground. And my mother was like, it's like, don't worry about it. When I talked to her about it after we left, I said, she said, don't worry about it. I understand what's going on. Like she knew the government killed me. What is that? Like they brainwashed my mother. My mother knew the government killed me. She was so mad. Right. Oh shit. Hey, they wanted death, man. Those pieces of shit wanted death. You want to live that millionaire life. They kill a coworker and then they get $1 million. I really believe that possibly one of my problems was the Mucinex. I'm not sure, but again, I'm also massaging my cranial tissues, which might be helping that all heal. Right. Now my cheek is like inflamed right now. Got to get all that tissue healed if I can. Wish I could have done it 5 years ago. It would have been so nice. And that's the point. Like when I was in Amarillo, I donated all that stuff to that church. I don't even know if I donated to church or a federal agent at this point because they're so screwed up down there. Right. Well, they were just like the attitude that the dude had was really weird. It reminds me of a federal agent versus a church music guy. Right. But who knows? They may have said a bunch of stuff to him. Right. Oh my God. Thanks, sorry. So, like, if Amarillo had got me in a church, right, everything would have worked. Right? Yeah. I think I donated to the Moore Church. Well, I was online and I saw that they had like a recording studio, and they were getting into higher level music production. So I had these ribbon mics and stuff, and I said, do you want these? And I had some guitars. I even gave them some condensers and stuff. But I just couldn't take all this stuff with me. I just felt like donating it to the church. The Lord said you can give it to the church. Like the guy I was with, the homeless guy that was living there for a little bit, he's like, well, why don't we go sell it? I was like, nah, I want to give it to the church. Of course, they don't say that. If they do say that, I was trying to have sex with people. That's how he does it. Right. Get these to Rob. Right. What they all do is they stop your wiring in your ups because you would just conform to whatever society you join. So you join a church, you would conform to the church. Meaning, Jesus is not happy. And I'll tell you what, most churches and most Christians think Satan is Jesus. They call Satan, when Satan talks in their head, they say, yes, Jesus. Well, I love you, Jesus. You're so wonderful. You think Jesus is talking to those churches, man? You really think Jesus is talking to them? Again, they use the Bible to cause people to fall. That's how they do it. It's like a science. Satan loves having Christians that read the Bible because they pick the biggest sinner and then put the spell on somebody to be the biggest sinner. But then that which is last is first, and that which is first is last. You see? The rabbi knew what he was talking about back then. Many are called, but few are chosen. If you don't think I'm chosen, then you're crazy, all of you. Right? Right, believe it or not, if you get, not right away, but you continue on. Yeah, right away. Don't say it when you. They killed Jonathan Luna, so they figure they don't care. They're just going to try to kill me next. Like sharks, smelling blood. Right. God told me that one of the hells that could exist, wouldn't tell me it was real or not, so I could make them a cockroach. And they'll eat like shit and know that they were human. And they can't reserve, they'll have their human mind and can't resist the urge to eat shit. That's real. God told me they've cursed people that end up eating shit. Like, you wonder why people eat their own dung? Like, not like societal, but, like crazy people I talk about, putting spells on them. The Lord said, yeah, be born on this planet, it's part of hell, and a cockroach. We gotta eat shit. Oh, son of a bitch, Marty. Yeah, don't call me a son of a bitch again. Now my mom will get mad at my brother. Call me a son of a bitch. No, so they're just projected. What can I tell you? That's what God said to me. Because He caused me to live in them places with the cockroaches. And God said, well, there goes one of them now. Thank you, Larry. Well, everything's knowable. Everything is knowable. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Larry. God bless you, Lawrence. I'm glad to see Trump's at least trying to reduce the friction. Maybe we'll all get up. The friction takes the whole thing down. See, I knew something was up because I said, God reminded me that I had this nightmare as a kid, right? And I could feel it. I could feel the nightmare. And then that's when I got sick. I did that right before I got sick. Oh, shit. Nah, I should have lived a great life. I was a good kid, right? Yeah, my family's pretty much full of shit. That's what went on. Right. They're doing shit in their head, and I'm just sitting there living a stupid life, not knowing anything. Right. My mother finally put my father out after the whole thing that happened. Right. We're all devils. Right. Stealing money from the world. It's a nice suit. Especially for that price they have rates. I don't think that larger size. Wow. It's a nice suit. Those Chinese sell some good, well-priced suits. Right. I guess pretty soon they'll go up unless they make a deal. Here's you buy a sport coat with gold buttons, not silver. So I don't know why that is like seems to be the style now. Reading Pure Gold by Elder E.N.S. Adern, Africa's Central Area President. Interesting. Oh, they just cursed him again. Well, I don't know if Trump accepted the plane yet. Right. They're making it sound like it's a done deal. Yeah, judges say unsolicited pizza deliveries meant to intimidate them. Because if you have food delivered, right, makes you think about your deliveries, right? Security wise, it's probably better not to do it anyway, right? So again, that has to be investigated as a threat, right? But could make them paranoid about ordering out. That could be part of it. Right? No, I don't allow judges to be harassed. Oh, there it is, right there too. Right. I didn't see that connection. Right. Well, you got to make sure it's not somebody, you know, like a hoax where it's actually a Democrat. Right. But it's probably somebody MAGA. Oh well, I guess I'm losing power over there on my phone. Stay peaceful, praise God.